Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to see all of you here. Today is November 14th, 2022. This is our second session. And today we will discuss habit 3. Start the first things first. Hello, Nicole. However, before to continue, I want to ask you questions. And I actually want to hear if you have any questions. So would you like to share your experience on how your work is going on habit number 1 and habit number 2? However, Patrick and Violetta was leading a great open discussion on habit number 1. But because habit number 1 is essential, do you remember what is about habit number 1? It's a maturity formula, it's proactivity gap, inside-out approach. I am the creator of my own reality, responsibility, circle of influence, and circle of concerns. So guys, these things can be work till the rest of our lives. I guess Patrick is working on it for 20 years. I'm working on it for more a year. And I can tell you that my results, unfortunately, wish to be better. However, I can tell you that I have some results. So anybody wants to share some progress on it?
I have to jump in here and introduce myself. I'm Valentina, and I wanted to be honest that I jumped right into habit 3, which I know is a mistake, but I really wanted to talk about the discussion and everything. And I know that the first 2 habits were essential, but I just wanted to put that out there.
No problem.
So whatever you guys are going to talk about in habit 3, I read it and now I'm there.
Wonderful, wonderful. You will catch up. So now habit number 2 was about mental creation versus physical creation. And we were talking that mental creation is the most important. And physical creation is also important, but it's follows. So we need to find the right direction first and then work on that right direction, right? The same is leadership and management. Also, leadership is the first and management is the second. We were talking about personal mission statement, and we were talking about alternative role centers. You remember it was family-oriented or children-oriented or centeredness. Or money-centeredness, selfishness centeredness. It's huge topics, guys. I'm sorry, but I cannot repeat everything for our newcomers. However, how I mentioned, you have an option to join next session, and it would be session number 3. And I look forward to see all of you there. Okay, anybody wants to share something on habit number 2? Mission statements we will discuss separately because it's very, very important. Well, guys, let's in order do not spend our time because the material is always very deep, very interesting. I will share with you my experience. However, please, if you will want to share your experience and you will be ready, please, after I will finish, just raise your hand because we are learning from each other, not only from Mr. Covey, not only what I'm saying, but we are learning from each other. So how I mentioned already about habit number 1 and 2, and then let me share screen. So you remember this graph, right? For our newcomers, this is our direct influence. This is our indirect influence, and this is out of control. So, of course, guys, we need to concentrate on our direct influence, because here we don't have any influence, but we're spending our time, unfortunately, a lot here, and putting our attention and our energy to here where we don't have any influence. So let's talk about, I'm sharing with you what I'm working on. I'm working on my thoughts, and this is my primary goal. And guys, if going a little bit deeper, and we have here, I'm evolving soul center coach who is spiritual person and leading her group, and she will see that how this book connect to spirituality. What, for example, Mr. Covey said that work on your thoughts, and our thoughts is the primary. So if we connect to Mr. Covey, leadership is the first, management is the second, right? So our thoughts is the leadership, guys. And everything the rest, my words, my action, behavior, reaction, decision, choices, and all this what you can read will follow. So what's the point to work on your actions? It's like work on management. Guys, if you will work on your thoughts, action will follow. But if you work on your action, it would be temporary result. And let's see even more. Our thoughts are leadership, and management, it's manifestation. It's all physical manifestation what we have. And what we are doing, we are working with manifestation. But manifestation is follow our thoughts. So in order if we want to change our life, in order if we want to have a different manifestation, we don't need to work with the manifestation. It's already the second creation. We need to work with our thoughts. It's for us, our mind is so conditioned that we cannot believe in it. For example, why we do not believe Christ, why we do not, we believe, but we don't follow what they're saying, because we can't. We are too conditioned. So this is actually already Mr. Covey is telling us to do that. So let's be more open to that. So I was interested in just a couple of words. I was talking about responsibility, and I was talking only about picking up garbage. Because guys, it's not only my thing what I'm doing, because you would look funny if you would go with a bag and gloves in a city, right? I'm living on the beach, I'm doing that. Of course, it's not about that, but responsibility, guys, we need to understand that we are responsible for even what we didn't do. And this is the level of our maturity. Dependent person responsible only for little thing. Independent person responsible for bigger circle. And the interdependent person, the top, his circle of responsibility increase. This is what we can increase. And let's see what I'm working on with my responsibility. Guys, it's not that I will teach you, or maybe I'm sharing with you complete basic and you do it all your life. So I'm just sharing with you, okay? So what I'm doing, for example, I'm saving electricity. Why do I do that? Do you know that approximately 40% of global carbon dioxide emissions are emitted from electricity generation through combustion of fossil fuel? And do you know how much average American produce carbon dioxide? The study found that the average annual carbon dioxide emission per American was a shocking 20 metric tons, in comparison to a world average of 4 tons. Your carbon footprint is calculated by everything you use by influence. And now let's imagine I saved 1 watt of electricity per day. And I'm not crazy. I just, if I see that light is working, I just go and turn it off. And if somebody from my family forgot, I'm going to turn it off. That's it. Not crazy, not till craziness degree. I'm saving 1 watt. How many billions on the earth? Okay, not everyone has light, right? Okay, let's say 7 billions. Let's take half, 3 billions. Every day, we will save 3 billions watt of electricity. So, and we will help our earth, our nature, and us to actually to survive, right? You know that the United States, the most wasteful country in the world. Huh? We are first in everything, right? So what I'm doing also for that, for example, I don't waste food. I am vegetarian. You know that 30% of carbon footprint going on meat industries. If, for example, one person will go 1 time per week at least vegetarian, it will help. I'm saving water. I don't run unnecessary water. Again, not till the degree. For example, I read a long time ago in my 20s that Germans brushing teeth and put water in a glass. How we are brushing teeth? We are brushing teeth under the waterfall sound, right? Okay, let's take, we save 1 liter of water per day. It's again would be the same 3-4 billions liters of water. So we see everything is going from us, not from somebody else. This is what Mr. Covey is saying, that I'm responsible, not he or government or somebody else. And the rest I will go quickly. So you see in 1960, millions tons. So the waste was near 100. And right now it's even finished in 2014. I'm sure right now it's 300 metric tons of garbage, guys. It's we are. And where food waste happen? Wow, 37% of household. This is what Mr. Covey is talking about, that we are responsible. I'm responsible for everything. And I've seen Paul, you raised your hand, and I actually want to mention to you right now. Last time you mentioned about fundraising. It's talking about responsibility, and I was thinking about it for quite a while. Guys, what do you think if we will set a goal, whatever, for example, $150, $100, $200, and I will put on our meetup fundraising. It's not mandatory, so it will be completely optional. Please, if you don't, if you can't, or even don't feel, don't do it. It should be from heart. $1, $2, plenty. If everyone will give $1, and at the end you will see the fundraising, and at the end we will vote through the pool and we donate. So world need our help. And when Paul mentioned that last time, I think I guess it's time to do that. So I would ask your opinion. Would you think can we do that? Let me stop sharing. Guys, do you think can we do that? Fundraising any amount, no amount, or yes, go ahead, Paul.
Lena, I think any amount would be great, and definitely to support any cause or anything, especially your seminars. I think that'd be fantastic. I would love to support in any way that I can. And I wanted to comment on something else. And go ahead. The group was also going to say, sorry.
No. Sorry, I interrupted you. Finish, Paul, please.
Well, the other thing that you said just a minute ago about not eating meat and being vegetarian, that's something I'm working on. And I was worrying that I was not as consistent. And then I noticed that going to meditation and going to church has really helped staying consistent. I noticed the accountability around me and the reason. And so, for example, the meditation teacher said, if you eat meat, it will affect your meditation. And I had some feelings about going vegetarian too for many years and being consistent about it, and it forced me to be consistent. That was the only thing I wanted to say, and I didn't want to take away from your fundraising question that you were just the next part.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, very much. We won't talk. I love to talk about it, but I cannot take people's attention to this topic. So I discussed with my husband. Actually, we discussed together, and we decided that we even don't ask to help us to support this group. It's actually quite substantial. I can tell you it's $360 per year. To keep meetup and keep Zoom. However, we decided that it would be our investment in our community. So we will look purely for fundraising. There is two options on meetup. It's fees. So, and it would be go toward us completely, or it's fundraising. And so we decided to stop on fundraising at your discretion and opinion. Okay, guys, thank you so much. If you want to add something or share, please. And if not, I have today, I asked Patrick to share his mission statement. Patrick, what I posted on our PowerPoint, and can you please read it? I will share, and whatever you will lead the discussion because it's your mission statement. Yes, here it is.
Yeah, so I'm happy to read it, but I'm just gonna summarize instead of read it verbatim. Okay, so bottom line is so let me preface a couple of things. This mission statement, right, it's always work in progress. It's a living, breathing document that I update periodically. Like right now, because it's at the end of the year, I think about like, oh, how can I improve or at least think about adjusting my my basically thoughts, my mental state, and that will drive my action. So I basically do this review very well often enough. So therefore, it's living and breathing. And that's what a mission statement should be. It should always be living and breathing, in my opinion. So in terms of my, my lifetime vision, it's basically about, it's about focusing on the thought of having more patience, being more kind, and being more humble, right? So that's the legacy that I want to leave behind, right? Not that I'm gonna be in historical books or anything like that. Personally, I don't care about that. And because 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years from now, nobody cares about me, which is fine, right? So, so therefore, for me, that's how I'm using my time, energy, and attention is to basically focus on, improving, being more patient, being more kind, being more humble. And basically that is those three items, right, drives my action in terms of what I do with other people, and also what I do in terms of interacting with my, not only people around me, but also with myself. It's like, there are times that I know that I'm impatient with myself. For example, I go to the gym, 2-3 times a week. I do strength training. Right now, I'm bench pressing 2.25, right? And I like to go up to 250, right? And a couple of times I pushed myself there, right? And it didn't work, right? Because I was very sore the next day. So So these are the things that, again, right? Patient, continuous, training. You can't do like a hop, right? Without having the proper foundation. So that's a type of that's an example when I talk about being patient. And being patient with other, it's similar, right? It's basically understanding what they're trying to do, and then help them with it, right? So these are the type of examples that how I apply my mission statement. As far as writing it, I don't think it matters, right? Meaning that, a lot of people get scared in terms of like writing it. As someone I had lunch with recently said, like, the other side of fear is freedom. So, and there's a lot of truth in that, right? Once you write it, your fear is gone, right? And so therefore you're free to edit. So it's never, a mission statement is not meant to be perfect, because a lot of time you need to change your mission statement because your life circumstance change. So, and like I said, 20 years ago, my mission statement was different. I worked on Wall Street. All I care about was money, right? So I did that, was fun, was able to basically, do my own thing by the time I hit 30. So, and then I realized, like, well, what else can I do? So like I said, I mean, there were permutations, and basically Katie said it. It's okay. I'm not sure the whole name, but yeah, your life mission statement evolves as you mature, hopefully, because some people stay the same. I mean, I don't know. So anyway, that's so, and I believe that so I use those three things to basically control, direct, all the different area of my life, the physical, the mental, financial, and things like that. So so that's how I do it. And again, I keep mine simple because I'm action oriented. I don't need to, the mission statements also, I use it as a real heuristic, a shortcut. If I get into a situation that I'm not sure about, right, I take a step back and say, hey, let's be patient and wait for the next data point, right? And then basically think about like, employ like probabilistic thinking. It's like, hey, what's the worst case scenario? What's the best case scenario? And what are the odds of those things happening? And so that type, that's just, having patience forces me personally to basically, think about the calculus of each of these situations to make sure, like, hey, is it the right move? So, and the thing is, if it's not, if I'm dealing with somebody, then then I was like, okay, what is the most kind move to do to act on, right? And for me personally, also, I find that having more patience, right, also helped me to be more humble, because it tells me like, hey, Patrick, you don't know everything. So let's chill out and look at all the possibilities. So that, helps me a lot. So anyway, I'm happy to take questions or comments or whatever. And again, my whole point of posting this is to basically to help everybody else out from a perspective of like, hey, there is no such thing as a perfect, mission statement. It's always work in progress, and just, do it and just write it. First draft might suck. Second draft might be less suck. Third draft, you're on your way. Sandra, you got a question?
Yeah, you wanted to, unless anyone else wanted to share, I would love, to hear from someone else about what you said. Otherwise, I'd love to share some thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just going to say, I loved your presentation about what you said about how you were 20 years ago, you were in Wall Street, and, you had this idea of making money, and I could relate a lot to what you're saying. And I think part of it I've noticed is maturity. And I got my lovely Demon Slayer hat, if anyone cares, just so you know. But the idea is, I'm noticing that my mission has changed due to being of service in a deeper way. And maybe you've noticed that same thing, right? As we get a little bit older, there's this idea of a deeper sense of fulfillment. And I noticed that every stage along the journey, there's been something service oriented. But now something's happening at a greater scale. There's a greater impact. Arthur Brooks says faith, family, friends, service, and that's what I agree. They say in your mid 40s and beyond, you tend to focus more on the intangibles, right? I don't know if anybody else has found that, Pat, and others, this idea of experiences, and that the materials are a tool for the service, a tool for expression. But it's really interesting. The only thing I care about now are relationships. My mission is to be of value, of service through music, entertainment, art, teaching, whether church, meditation, to understand different cultures, to be the best version of myself, and to be able to help out wherever I can. And that's why I love being in this group, and I love what you said. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, something that you said actually, resonated with me. It's like the idea that, when you're less mature, you create externally, but when you're mature, you create in yourself that it actually leaves a footprint for others to basically look at. So yeah, through the notion of, intangible, right? So yeah, and you're right. My focus, when even 10 years ago, right, I was all over the place, meaning like I got so much going on, it's ridiculous. Now, I have very little going on, and I basically are very strategic with my time, energy, and attention, so that basically I could do those things well. It's like quality over quantity. So, and I think that's what maturity brings.
I love it. Thank you, Pat.
Yes, and Patrick, I love your mission statement, and we discussed it previously, and I see very, very little changes. So I'm also happy about it. It means you are on your path and you know what you're doing. Can you share with people with your experience of 7 Habits by Mr. Covey? Did this book help you?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly this, 7 Habit is one of those books where, so it fits my personality because I'm action oriented, being a type A person, which is why the patient kindness and humility help, it's sort of like a rain on myself, right? So it's like, since I'm in Texas, I could say that it's like, you being the person being a cowboy, and your 3 brain is the horse that it wants to run over the place. You being the cowboy needs to navigate, right? So whatever your inner entity is, right? That's what you have to kind of have the time and energy on. And so the 7 Habit, helped me progress gradually, right? Toward basically doing more of personal assessments of how I relate to the world, right? Because the thing is, when I began this journey, I always have been philosophical and introspective. However, it was hard. It was hard to basically take action on it. So the 7 Habits, right, because it's so action oriented, right, it basically crystallized what I wanted to do. So, and that's why I spent a lot of time on the action swing between the principles of the habit, right, and the payoff, right? Because if something, and I do that, and I do those iterations pretty quickly. Right, because I've been doing it such a long time, I know what works and what doesn't work. Especially when I meet someone new, I know what works and what doesn't work in terms of how I approach them, right, or how I basically communicate with them. So, and same thing when when I run a board meeting, is the same thing. Like so, for example, I'm involved with a new nonprofit right now where I chair the board, and I don't know these people. So we had a first meeting a couple of weeks ago, and and I basically kind of figure out, people call it sizing up the other people, but really it's more about like how best to serve them so that the organization's mission is realized. And so that's what I do now. It's like, and I got here because of continuous practice of the 7 habits. Not every day I'm perfect,
Exactly.
basically I'm probably perfect 20% of the time. Well, not even that. 20% of the time I did okay. So the other 80, let's not talk about. So it's definitely iterative, right? And and the thing is, the reality is, there is no shame in failure, right? As long as you learn from it. Because I have enough failure to basically feel like 10 yellow pages if all of us are old enough to know what yellow pages are, right? So it's not, so that's why when you ask about like, oh yeah, mission statement, things like that, right? I know, folks, I know from the first time I, like years ago, decades ago, right? I had to basically publicly, read my personal statement. I was scared. I was like, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want people to judge me or criticize me. And then at the end, I'm like, you know what? It's not their life, it's my life. Because this is the plan for me, so.
Great,
Anyway.
great. Patrick, I cannot add anything. Thank you for sharing. And I see Stefan wants to say something.
Yes, Patrick. So I know from reading Dr. Covey's book that it's kind of what tells you what your mission statement is. It's your, I think he says it's your conscience. So you get alone with yourself. Is that how you do this? And you keep looking at the mission statement, and there's something that's just innately part of you that tells you it's right or not.
Yeah, so the thing is, yes and no, right? Because the thing is, this is one of the sad part about being a human being, right? You have reasoning, we all have reasoning skills. And a lot of time we reason our way into something bad, right? And even with a conscience, right? But that's what a mission statement is, right? A mission statement is basically helps you vet through, right, your reasoning, right, as well as your current ethical standards, whether or not it flies, right? So I'll give you a real example, right, of what happened. 2 weeks ago, I was at church, and I had a very strong disagreement with one of my church brothers, right? He's a very smart guy. He's a doctor, and I basically respect him and admire him because he is one of those like guys that knows his stuff. And he's also type A like me. So we had a little this, right? But at the end, we basically had, and I thought about what I said to him. I was like, maybe I read him wrong. And I basically told him that, hey, the way I saw it was this. And he basically said, no, that's not what I was talking about. I was actually we were both trying to help each other out, but, in an awkward way, because I guess that's men do that when we communicate. So at the end, it was like a miscommunication, but I got mad. I got really mad. So I was like, wait a minute. So let me, and this is when I was like, hey, dude, take a step back, be patient about this, figure out. And then I basically went through my mission statement being, not but keywords like patient, kindness, and humility. It's like, hey, let's be patient about it. Let's step back, right? Don't say anything that's not kind, right? Because words, can help or can destroy, right? So I held my words, right? And then I always like, what, being type A, we're fighters. We don't like to step back, right? So I had to basically take a humble step backwards and say, what? I was like, Bob, you might be right on this, but let me think about it a little bit more. So, next week, the following week, which is last week, he called me out of the blue. I said, yeah, you know what? I want to apologize. Blah, blah, blah. But we had a meaningful conversation. Now, imagine if I didn't have that, those key words to hold me back, right? It would have been bad, right? Because, I know how he thinks. He knows how I think, and this is so because I've known him for like 10 years, and I don't want to destroy a meaningful friendship because of, you know, some dumb, you know, misunderstanding. So that's the beauty of having a mission statement, even though if you have a conscience, because sometimes your intellect will hijack your conscience and thinking like, hey, you're right, the other person's wrong, and then you will react. So does
Awesome.
that help answer your question, Stephen?
No, actually, what I was is, how did you arrive at your mission statement? Is there, you know, so I was just thinking of, like, you know, in the Catholic Church, they call it vocation. You know, it's sort of like it's part of your soul, you know, and you know, you meditate and you pray, and that it reveals itself to you over time.
It's so, like I said from the beginning, right? Your mission statement is a work in progress always, right? So it doesn't matter. There's no such thing, in my opinion, there's no such thing as a perfect mission statement, right?
Right.
You could write one right now, right? And then say, hey, you know what? I want to get to point B. If your mission statement does not help you get to your point B, right? Your target area, then you basically have to revisit your mission statement, right? So, but the caveat, right? It has to be principle centered. The principle center could be something from religion, it could be something from philosophy, or it could be something that is a basic truth, right? So I think, you know, you mentioned last time, like, well, what does it mean to be principle centered, right? It's basically what you grow up to understand as truth, or what you personally experience understand as truth. You know, from you know, my personal thing is from a Christian tradition, right? It's basically loving your neighbor as yourself, right? But that could mean anything, right? You know, so for me, right, I was inspired from, you know, by you know, the Corinthian 2, right? Say love is patient, love is kind, love is not envy. So I basically took that and basically say, you know what? If I'm able to basically abstract patient kindness and humility as my thing, right, then I could work on it as a lifetime endeavor. Because your mission statement, in my opinion, needs to be a lifetime endeavor. It can't be just like, yeah, you know, I bench 250, great, I'm done, right? You know what I mean? So then what? So it has to be something internal to help you grow as flourish as a human being. So, because the thing is, like, I've known folks that when, so I did classes like, I attend classes like this, I had cohorts like this, you know, when I was in New York 10, 15 years ago. I know guys, you know, and we all basically worked on Wall Street, and I know guys like, oh yeah, you know, I want to get a Maserati and a penthouse by Central Park, I'm good. They got it. Now I don't think they're good. So, but it's different for everybody, right? So, I think it's if you're struggling to say like, oh, you know, I don't know what my mission statement should be, right? Like I said, just write it down, right? Look at it and say, hey, you know, if I achieve this, is this, you know, what I want to be? Because the thing is, I do something, because to be something, you have to do it, right? So once you do it, right, then you're like, okay, and you actually have to do it to see whether or not you want it. You might not want it. And then if you don't want it, then you have to gradually do the things and get there. It's never perfect, is what I'm saying. So, but I think the first step is the hardest, is basically just to write it down.
Yes.
Does that help?
That helps. Yes.
Okay. If it doesn't, it's okay. You know, tell me to my face. I'm fine. If it doesn't help you, then ask me in a different way. I'm happy to answer it, or other people could, you know, because I think, you know, all of us needs to be comfortable writing the first draft, regardless how good or how crappy it is. Just get it done.
Okay, thank you.
Richard.
This reminds me of many things that seem over the top difficult for us in things we do in life. And if we can take the steps to do this, we learn a valuable lesson. We learn how to get things done. This is one of those tests. So just like many other things, as I said, that are difficult, in a mission statement, what's your very first step? Well, grab a piece of paper. And then the next step is grab a pen. And then the next step is sit down. And then you can continue. So everything I think that's worth doing in life is like that. As long as you take those initial steps that are the easiest ones to do, by the time you know it, you'll be writing down a fairly extensive and well thought out mission statement.
Awesome. Awesome. Love your answer. Katy B.
Thank you. Because of the work I do, I would just add, because I haven't heard that with the discussion of the mission statement, is the part that intuition plays. I've heard about reason, I've heard about intellect, but I do want to stress the importance of connecting with your intuition during the wording of your mission statement. And that is a very powerful player because that helps you transcend your human ego. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your aid. Absolutely. Well, guys, I think we can say, Patrick, thank you so much. It was very informative with the experience and we learned a lot. I'm learning from you, Patrick, very much. Thank you. Guys, do you remember according your comments? Where is... Okay. You asked me to discuss Abraham Maslow, this quote. So, and right now, if you remember, it was connected to habit number 2, and it's exactly about imagination. And how Katy B said intuition. There's more about imagination. So what he wanted to say, if you would like, please make a photo of it, and we will discuss it. And you will discuss just simply what he meant by this. He that is good with a hammer tends to think everything is a nail. And I will put you in a group. 14. So we will do just 3 groups, guys. It would be 5 minutes would be enough. Perfect.
I would say 10.
10 minutes. Okay,
Maybe less.
let's do in the middle. Let's do 7 minutes. So, and please assign a person who will present, because guys, we really need to move forward. It's so interesting, everything, but we need to move forward. So, okay, please accept invitation.
My breakout. Oh no, I can't go back to my breakout room.
It's already, everybody will come back right now. Did you finish the conversation? Was it enough time?
It said 1 minute, and then I think, I don't know what happened. It kicked me back into this room.
Sometimes I notice it happened by itself. I'm sorry, it's not I kick you out of your group.
No worries.
Because you
Might have done
misbehaved.
something, I don't know.
So how was the conversation? Did you figure out?
I loved it. I was going to add to what they said, and there were a couple of things. I think that, like Wayne Dyer says, they were
Which
talking about.
Paul, which group you present?
Oh, well, they're going to be presenting. It's Carlos and I believe Nicole.
I
Okay.
recommend that you present for us, Sanjay. Go
Yeah,
no,
ahead.
no.
you started, Paul.
No,
Go
no, 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 no. Go ahead, Nicole.
No, 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 no.
Okay,
No,
group
I mean,
number one.
Group number one. I'm speaking for group number one. I'm Stephen.
Go ahead, Stephen.
We think the statement that he who what is that he was good with a hammer thinks that everything is a nail, is that they come to something from their point of view and they apply it to every situation,
Exactly.
even if it doesn't really fit the situation.
Perfect, perfect. I love your answer. Thank you. Group number two.
is that us with? Oh, go ahead.
Yes, Sanjay, it's us.
Go ahead, Carlos or Nicole. Did you want to present, or do you want me to?
Well, Sanjay, go ahead. You didn't get to contribute a lot, so I'm very interested to hear what you've got to say, sir.
Oh no! So Carlos and Nicole talked about anger and this idea about how somebody who's angry can, go in a certain way. And what I wanted to add to that is underneath anger is hurt. So this idea with the nail is what's underneath the nail, like what is forming that nail, or Wayne Dyer says that motivational speaker, that there are no justified resentments. What I found is, like, even in my case, I've had some issues there stemming from my things I didn't know about with a family member, my parents, in certain situations. And then I've been working to resolve a lot of family intergenerational stuff that has lightened the load. I think when you look at the systems, what is the nail hitting? Okay, but what's in that toolbox? What are all the other, you mentioned screws. Carlos and Nicole talked about screws and that there are different ways to go into the wood. And I think looking at people's approaches and how they're hitting the nail, or if they're putting a screw or being flexible. I mean, also a therapist online said, he says in one of his trainings that you're able to see the person into the change.
Right.
So, just as you can put a nail into the wood, you can take the nail out, you can adjust it. And the maturity that Pat talked about earlier, Patrick, and that idea of the wisdom, I think it all works together. That anger can be fuel for the fire for later. I mean, once it's transmuted or transformed. So we were talking about that, and that motivation can turn into inspiration for others.
Oh, guys, you're great. So interesting answers. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, group number two. Thank you, group number one. How's about the group number three?
I think what we were getting at was not thinking outside the box. If somebody thinks everything's a nail, like
Right.
being rigid in thinking. This is all that I or the person knows. This is the only way. Limiting beliefs. Not being so flexible. Finding creative solutions maybe would be another way. Even changing your tool. Being better with more than one tool. The gentleman made a joke. Well, I don't know. I'm only good with a screwdriver. And I was like, well, that could be, maybe the screwdriver is just as good as the nail. It might work just as good. So you could say, oh, I'm not good at this job because I'm only good with the screwdriver. Or the guy with the hammer could be like, I don't want to hire him because he doesn't know how to use a hammer. He knows how to use a screwdriver. Combined, it might build a house that's stronger. There we go. I just came up with that. That was beautiful. How's that for an ending, everyone?
Sean. It was
Into
up
the
to the
pendulum.
mark answer. Very, very, very like bingo.
I couldn't have done it without the rest of my group.
Awesome. And actually, I've seen for some case I created 3 groups, but I've seen 2 people was in group number 5. Guys, would you like to add anything? It was just 2 people, and I don't know how did it created.
Yeah, we came Stream, talked about it, and we came to the idea that the nail can be just how you approach life so far and how you continue to apply it. So if we brought up accountant at work is more logical, thinks more in black and white, so they might apply that to their personal lives. And then we also considered the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how, for example, immigrants are great at surviving when they come from their situation. So someone who's been on survival mode for so long that even after they've met their physical and their psychological and safety needs, that's how they approach life from then on. And they're not able to think of self-actualization, esteem needs, and belongingness.
Exactly. Thank you so much, guys. All answers were just great and deep, and you approach this topic from a different point of view. Hello, Jessica. We discussed what you wanted. The Maslow, who said he that is a good with a hammer tends to think everything is a nail. So we just finished our conversation. And yes, guys, it's all about perspective. Limited your perspective or unlimited. And when we master something, we tend to think that everything in the world appears to us in that particular content. So what's the exit? Just learn and the bigger horizon will open for us. Don't stay in your comfort zone. Otherwise, everything will be a nail for you. So let's move ahead. Thank you so much. I enjoyed the conversation. So guys, now we will start to talk about habit number 3. Just brief review. Habit number 1, be proactive. I am the creator. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. It's actually the first mental creation. And habit number 3, start the first things first. It's actually the second physical creation. So again, I'm the creator, the first mental creation, habit number 2, and the second physical creation, habit number 3. And all these 3 habits are working toward our private victory, or my private victory, or your private victory. The next 4 habits will be about public victory. So if you are not strong with these habits, will be very difficult for you to win in public victory and public relationship. So please pay attention and don't stop to practice. Habit number 1, habit number 2, and habit number 3. Doesn't matter, 1 year, 2 years, 20 years. Just keep practicing, and every time you will be better and better in it. This is very interesting. So Mr. Covey is saying that every human has 4 endowments: self-awareness, consciousness, independent will, and creative imagination. And this gives us the ultimate human freedom. Who do not dream about it? The power to choose, to respond, and to change. And let's just quickly say that we would be on the same page. What is self-awareness? It's not easy question, but if anybody, for some case, I don't see you.
When you've reached your goals.
Okay, Jessica?
Awareness of your environment, of your thoughts, of your like acting and not responding.
Right.
Becoming aware of really the root cause of our challenges. When you become aware, it gives you so much power. Then you stand of empowerment. When you stand in empowerment, that is like the foundational. It sets up your foundation to have a really strong foundation when we're in a place of empowerment, especially if you have empowering beliefs that are alignment of your values. Oh my God, that sets you up for prosperity in every part of your life.
Perfect. Yeah. Self-awareness, conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. Beautiful answer, Jessica. What is consciousness? So please don't mix it with conscious. It's 2 different words. Mr. Covey is talking about consciousness. It's not easy question as well, guys. If Go ahead, Jessica.
There's human consciousness. It's where we are in this world. I would say it's like the Wi-Fi. You're tapping into higher consciousness. I call it higher consciousness, which is knowledge. I call consciousness as a form of higher intelligence.
Okay.
And when you tap into your higher intelligence, then you're always acting on your higher self. Like, what would your higher self, how would your next version of yourself, for example, how would your higher self act? Like, how would a God act in the situation? Just, you know what I mean? Consciousness is like God. Christ consciousness, I call it God consciousness. Like,
we also have consciousness. So how I understand, Mr. Covey is talking about our consciousness. But your answer is right. Yes, your answer is right, Jessica. Thank you. Richard.
I was also thinking about our sense of positive and negative, right and wrong, fair and unfair.
Oh, beautiful.
And,
Jessica,
and
your
those
answer
things
is
that
really
guide us.
good. But Richard is went to the point. At least the content of this book. It's not that you're not right. The content of this book. Thank you, Richard. Sorry, I kind of interrupted you, but you did bingo. So it's consciousness is inner sense of right and wrong. And the independent will is our capacity to act. And the creative imagination, guys, I think it's very easy, but just see what is the definition. New uncommon ideas emerge. So let's assign these 4 endowments to our habits. This is habit number 1, habit number 2, and habit number 3. What do you think belongs from these 4 endowments to habit number 1? I am the creator. I am responsible.
I can answer. I am creator is I am conscience. Like, I am consciousness. Like, that's my.
Okay.
I am creator. That means you have the will, you have consciousness, and you have the awareness, because you are a creator.
Okay, so you say consciousness, right? And see, at some habit it can be assigned to. So consciousness, your answer, right, Jessica?
Yes.
Fine. Paul?
Sure. So if we're looking at conscience in terms of the morality, right, as the way it's written here also, I've noticed that, and I love what was mentioned, and you said Jessica is your name?
Yes.
Yes.
Jessica said about the Christ consciousness, and you mentioned that also too, Lena, and other people, Patrick hit on church as well. What I found is I'm making more morally centered decisions. I'll give you a quick example. I'm writing songs as I'm performing for the Christian Academy students I teach sociology for. You have to really be mindful of everything you're saying in terms of the subject matter. You can't teach it in a general sense. That has caused me to change in my public life, like songs that I used to joke around with, or hey, I thought it might be entertaining or funny to sing because it's on the radio. All of a sudden, that alignment, that conscience kind of mentality, right? That idea of, am I going to perform this outside when I just taught at the Christian Academy, right? This self-awareness. So there was a song called Stacy's Mom. And I'm like, that doesn't work with the values that they have there. So I'm not learning it. I'm not going to play it. There was another song, it had an inappropriate line. Well, I thought was inappropriate. And I got some feedback and I destroyed the song. It was some really popular song. And so I'm really trying to align my conduct with the self-awareness, the morally centered decisions, and I'll get feedback for that accountability. Also, the independent will, that is something I'm working on. For example, I'm a strong advocate for all religious freedom. And, I know we are followed, with Judeo-Christian principles, we're founded in that way. But at the same time, I'm very open to all different ways of life and being, orientations around the world. You know, when I teach courses, I try to prepare everyone for everything. But at the same time, I'm not going to tell somebody else what to do. I'm not going to tell a pastor at a church how they need to do things. I just know outside of the church how I want to be. You understand? But it can be scary because there might be some churches where you're a better fit than at others. So I have to be self-aware that my beliefs are going to cost me. It can cost you people not wanting to talk to you, not thinking you're a good fit, even though you gave a house to a pastor. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
But you know what? That's okay if you don't fit. I mean, what I mean?
Right.
It's not about pleasing other people. It's being true to yourself.
Yes. I love that you said that because it's scary though at times.
It is. You know what?
Talk
I have to
about
figure
it.
that every day.
We will talk. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Paul. Patrick.
Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the habit, one, definitely self-awareness and conscience is key. And one of the beauty of actually the crown jewel, the gem of the 7 habits is that it fits into all traditions, right? Because it hinges on action, and whatever principle that you kind of hitch the 7 habits on, it becomes effective automatically if you act on them. So, but you know, if you look at, you know, and I agree with you, Sanjay, that yeah, the U.S. is founded on, you know, Christian principles, Judeo-Christian principles. However, if you look at a, you know, religion across the world and across time and across culture, it hinges really on one thing: treat each other well, right? Human, non-humans, right? The planet, just treat each other well. That's it, right? It goes back to what I said about, you know, human being smart. Sometimes, you know, we're so smart that we're dumb. So, and that's, you know, and I think these effective habits, right, remind us that we need to basically just be in the middle. So I'm the creator, yeah. You know, if you're aware of what your situation is, like, you know, what Sanjay said, right? If you're in a church, right, and if your relationship interactions with Christians, right, obviously, you know, well, not obviously. So you are going to be more aware of the things that you say, so that you kind of uphold and basically align with the Christian principle. So, and that's where the conscience comes in. It's the rein that basically, you know, that drives your horse, right? Wherever that you're the cowboy, that the rein will basically, you rein into the direction that you need to go. So anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you, Patrick. Actually, you were very, very, very close. Richard, please.
As far as I am the creator, and what I understand from that is that we are creating our own environment, creating our own vision, creating our environment and how we move forward. And to be this creator, we have to believe that we are, and we may have to change some things. What I really like is where he says at the bottom there on the left that these things give you the power not only to choose and respond, but to also change. And change for all of us humans, I believe, is a fairly difficult thing.
All right. Thank you, guys. All answers are very quality answer. However, let me still what Mr. Covey said, that self-awareness is a sign for I am the creator. Because when you are the creator, you need to have conscious knowledge of your character, of your feeling, of your motives, and of your desire. But see, conscious knowledge. So you were, whoever, in Jessica and Paul, who said that conscious, you were very, very close. However, first it needs self-awareness of who you are. And then the second habit, mental creation. What would be a sign for mental creation? Richard?
I'm thinking creative imagination.
Yeah, definitely, Stefan.
I would say also conscience.
Right, conscious. Yes, because see, consciousness, your inner sense of right and wrong. If you have no idea what is right, you have no idea what is wrong, you can imagine what you will imagine. So you have so for habit number 2, it's assign consciousness and creative imagination. And of course, for physical creation, for habit number 3, it will work independent will. And independent will, Mr. Covey put some attention to it. He said this is an amazing thing, human will. And he is saying that success is not the dramatic or once in a lifetime effort that brings success. Success comes from our everyday decision. Guys, let me put attention on it. Success comes from our everyday decision. So if we say, I can be okay today, tomorrow I will be fine. And tomorrow you will do again, and the day after tomorrow you will do again and again and again, and you won't notice how it's habit become your habit. Oh, today let me forgive to her or to him. Oh, let me close my eyes on that. No, every single day success comes from our everyday decisions, our everyday action, and by our lenient to something, or it's a special situation, or it's a special person, or I will do it tomorrow. No, it doesn't work. Every single day, go to success on straight road. Do not do all the waves around. Stefan, do you want to say something?
No, thank you.
Okay, can you lower your
I'll
hand?
lower the hand, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Yeah. Thank you. And guys, I will miss it quickly. Even it's very interesting, and we have 2 people spiritual. That I wanted to say that spirituality is not a mystery anymore. So also, Mr. Covey said that our independent is very important. Independent will measured by our own personal integrity. And we discussed already what is integrity. What is integrity in a couple of words, guys? Jessica?
Oh, I was going to say something about success, like having all these aspects, yes, is having success, but I feel not just the present goals, but the bigger picture. If you look at yourself from a higher perspective, like if you look at yourself from a mountaintop looking down, and as an observer, if you look at yourself and your life, there is so much knowledge, and you can connect to your purpose that way by looking at your journey, looking at your failures, or only learn lessons. It's how you perceive your life. So when you're looking at it from a higher place, you can see it through higher lenses, right? Different types of lenses. You take off your old glasses and put on new ones that are actually can zoom out and zoom in. So you have the ability, when you see yourself from a higher place, and you can see also your future by seeing your past. So the thing is, it gives you so much knowledge, and you're able to change your trajectory by looking at your past.
Thank you, Jessica. What I want to say, first, I agree with you completely, but success we can discuss many hours, because so much of it. So Mr. Covey didn't limit his answer just what he said. It was just toward the independent will. It was toward our human will, but you are absolutely right. And so I was asking what is integrity, and let me continue. Integrity is fundamentally the value we place on ourselves. It's the ability to make and keep our commitments. It's like walk our talk. And see, this is in our material world when we are acting, right? And what he's saying, independent will is our capacity to act. It gives us the power to transcend our paradigms, to swim upstream, to rewrite our scripts, to act based on principle rather than reacting based on emotion or circumstance. So this is our independent will. And there I wanted to add that the spirituality is not a mystery anymore. So we talk about integrity. Mr. Covey talk about integrity and how to keep your work, right? And in spirituality, this is the greatest master of our century. So he's saying the degree of freedom from unwanted thoughts and the degree of concentration on a single thought. He's talking about integrity are the measure to gain spiritual progress. So it's absolutely, guys, there is no mystery in spirituality anymore. And spirituality is talking only about your spirit, only about your thoughts. But again, see how Mr. Covey and the greatest master of our century are saying absolutely the same. So this is the favorite essay of Mr. Covey, The Common Denominator of Success, written by Gray. So it's very interesting. Do I have a volunteer to read, please?
I can do it.
Please, Jessica, thank you.
Excellent. The Common Denominator of Success by E. Gray. Successful men are influenced by the desire for pleasing results. Failures are influenced by the desire for pleasing methods and are inclined to be satisfied with such results as can be obtained by doing things they like to do. The common denominator of success, the secret of every man who has ever been successful, lies in the fact that he can be formed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. By
Thank
Albert.
you, Jessica. Yes, very clear. So you see, guys, successful men concentrate on results, and failures concentrate on pleasing and easy methods. That's it. Interesting, Brian Tracy said that good habits are hard to develop, but easy to live with. Bad habits are easy to develop, but hard to live with. The habits you have and the habits that have you will determine almost everything you achieve or fail to achieve. Why it's so difficult to develop good habits and so easy to develop bad habits? Very quick answer, we have just a couple of minutes. Richard, please.
Bad habits are easy and pleasurable.
Yeah.
And good habits are the opposite.
Exactly. So this is the route you wanted to say, that bad habits are easy and they are attaching like that, right? Carlos, please.
Bad habits don't take very little effort, whereas good habits takes an effort. And I think generally sometimes we're just tired or lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it takes a lot more energy to undo a bad habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have an, well, as an example of a bad habit that's easy, right, is avoiding conflict. Right. People run away from conflict because they don't have those difficult conversations, right? So, or allowing, for example, it's so easy to allow things, right? And that's a bad habit.
Yes, we will talk about it. Yes, we will talk about the power of saying no and the saying
yes.
Dararti, please. Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think this could be added on to what Jessica said. Fear of like rejection and just fear in general. Like in order to form good habits, you're gonna have to like be used to failure and rejection in order to keep putting yourself out there and practice doing the good habits, because rejection will lead you to like doing bad habits, things that would harm yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you for wonderful adding. Paul.
Yeah, what I noticed too, especially as I'm taking these doctoral classes in leadership, going to church and talking to other people like yourself that are successful in all these areas, what I'm noticing, and maturity also and reflection. And Nicole mentioned something that I also think too, having people call you out on it. Because I've noticed I've had these, I was not even aware until somebody brought it to my attention. You could be doing something and that's your way of operating unless somebody tells you, hey, there's another way, or are you aware that you're doing this? And it goes into those types of learning, right? There's stages of learning and all these things. So I don't know that someone's intentionally, it's not in all cases, right? And this is just from my perspective, that anyone's intentionally trying to have a bad habit. But I've noticed that if you're modeling success, right? A lot of motivational speakers talk about it, and I love Brian Tracy. And if you've been to his seminars, I've talked to him too. And it's just amazing how he works. And but it becomes habituated. If you know what is working, you know what is working for a situation. But I think having that break set mind that I'm willing to adapt, even if I have this habit now, and I know that it might work. If it in a year from now, if it's outdated or I need to adjust it, and somebody helps me, or if I have that insight, hey, I need to wake up here and change my approach, even though it worked, then that also helps too, right? And I think, what is that? The Atomic Habits book by James Clear, that works. I love that book too. And just wanted to add, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. A very considerable answer. So, guys, and I congratulate you. We just came to habit number 3. Put the first things first. And next time we did a great review. We will start our class right away from habit number 3. We will finish it and then we will have a discussion. How does it sound to you? Because it's 8:30. And maybe I wasn't exactly clear. So I was talking about fundraising, and guys, fundraising, and it's not will be for me and for my family. We will donate we will do charity to the places which we will vote ourselves. So anybody wants to say something, and we will close our meeting. I love your feedback. Please, if you have just everyone, just one, 2 sentences again about what did you learn today? What will you take with you?
Well, would you like me to go?
Sure, go ahead.
Just it's confirming and becoming more aware of the steps, right, to creation, to create your idea into like existence, right, and make those empowering decisions, and it's just the I guess the step by. Sometimes when we create something, an idea or making a decision, it's nice to have like concrete steps, right? Instead of like creating it yourself. Yeah. So it's really nice to have a guideline.
Yes, it's exactly what Patrick was saying, that it will be every step what Mr. Covey is set up, not for us, first for himself, and now we are using, yes, thank you, very good answer. Carlos, please.
Yeah, I think a lot of the quality of life depends on the effort you put in. And people that don't put in much effort, they don't have much quality, my opinion. The one thing I really like about, I mean, we've got some really intelligent people here that share some very deep things that are very well thought out and expressed very, very well. And it kind of stimulates my thinking to kind of want to push to kind of, well, let's get on to that level here and raise up a little bit. I think that's the best thing, the synergy that's created just by listening and participating in this particular group, because obviously the people that do put an effort into their lives, and it's nice to be around people of like mind.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Very inspirational. Nicole, would you like to say by yourself, or I can read what you texted?
You can read it. It's fine.
No, I want to
was
listen to
gonna
you.
I just wanted to add what Carlos had said too. He said not everyone has a mentor or someone to call us out on our maybe bad habits, or maybe not bad habits, but maybe being open to changing our approach sometimes. Like I mentioned in our little breakout group, I don't want to be that ornery old lady. If I'm acting out of character, I want someone to tell me. I need that negative criticism, but sometimes people won't give it. So keep practicing and keep our mission statement, like Patrick said, to keep us in check.
Thank you, Nicole. It's actually, you touch a very deep issue. We are, I'm American citizen, even I'm Russian, I can say that I'm American and I'm becoming American, very polite and very tolerant, and we close eyes on everything. And we are saying, yes, 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 it's wonderful, but not negative, a positive criticism, it's helpful. Do you remember I was saying that we are from compliment, we are going down. And from positive critique, we are growing. So if we love each other, if not each other, if we respect each other, if we love our close one, it's okay with love, not to criticize, with love to say something, because you can be don't aware of. You can see only from the side. So let's grow and let's use positive critique. And Nicole also wrote, I learned to keep practicing the habits. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm so happy that we are here. And I promised give 7 meetings. To remember 1 habit per meeting. I tried. It doesn't work, guys. The habits are so deep. It doesn't work. And then actually, one person was disappointed. He wanted to, or she wanted a member to just 1 habit per meeting and then disappear. And Patrick said, oh, be happy that it's longer, because while you're here, at least you will think about it or maybe practicing. And when, believe me, when the meetings will be gone, practically many of us will just forget about it. So practice. Yeah.
And Lena, when you said, positive criticism or negative criticism, whatever it is, it's sharing truth. And when you're sharing truth, you're sharing compassion for that person and respect. And I think that's it's so needed, especially even though, the truth hurts sometimes. I'd rather have the truth than someone avoiding the truth.
That's me too, Jessica, but I learned here that the negative criticism can so hurt a person that he or she is closing, and they don't hear. So because we need to be actually use only positive. Well,
it's always how you deliver it too. It's
exactly,
it's
what I'm talking about. Yes.
Yes, you deliver it, the positive, everything is positive or negative. You can take it either way, right? Even something positive, people can take it in a negative way.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So it's always how you deliver it.
But be deliberate when how you're saying, what you're saying, with what tone of voice, with what kind of facial expressions. Yeah, thank you. Carlos? Oh, Richard, I'm sorry.
Just a quick comment. The hammer and nail question I thought about how that extends also to human relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily a hammer and nail to solve a problem, but a hammer and nail how you treat other people. So if you're good with, like, let's say even men and women, men are good at being men, and do they treat women like men? And the opposite as well. So the hammer and nail situation, we can all change our paradigms as far as that goes in our relationships with others.
Awesome. Thank you. Carlos?
Yeah, there's to skip back a little bit, there's a way to disagree without being disagreeable. Okay, and I think that's kind of that's how you improve yourself in communicating. I mean, I talk a lot differently to my 13-year-old daughter than I do when I'm in a business meeting with grown men and women that, we just like to get down to business, get things solved. I mean, the language, everything's different, but there's a way to disagree without being disagreeable. And that's kind of the key, because at least you put your information out there. Now, what they choose to do with it is their own business, but
Here you are.
if you do it from a good place, you build a good relationship. I think that's very productive, or as productive as you can be.
It's mastery already. It's what we need to work toward it. Yes. Guys, need to close the meeting. It's 8:40. As always, I tremendously enjoyed our conversation. Sorry, actually, Paula, I didn't post everything on our message board. And, I posted recently. Please join our message board if you would like to see everything, or see the link I posted to our recorded meetings. Keep practicing every single day and develop joy. Don't push yourself. Guys, it's real joy and tremendous benefits of happiness, satisfaction, how Mr. Covey said, freedom. Enjoy your practicing. Thank you so much. And I look forward to see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Bye-bye.
Lena and everyone, thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Lena.
Thank you. Thank you, Elietta. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you.
Nicole. Thank you.
Good night, all.
Good night.